You know, the last time I gave my reaction to a SmackDown episode, I said I was worried that it's going to sound like that I'm always pleased by everything and I like everything. Well, worry no longer, because I don't have a ton of great things to say about tonight's SmackDown. First of all, my name's Josh. You might know me from this video of me becoming a WWE fan in the last year, or maybe you know me as somewhere on this guy. This picture went around quite a bit on the Twitter sphere, which was kind of cool. That was fun. I'm not going to talk anything about that Raw show that I went to. That's going to be a video coming out in a few days where I'm going to be reviewing the Ringsider VIP experience. So if you're interested in that, make sure you sub. I'm not going to be going through everything that happened in this episode. There's a few points that I really want to talk about, but the overarching topic, I'm just going to put this right in the front. I'm not going to make you wait for it. I'm sure I made the thumbnail based on this because I'm not sure I understand the draft. And this is going to be the thing of the week, I guess, where I might need a little bit of help from some veterans of the WWE universe. I don't know how long the draft has been a thing. I don't think it's always been around. Maybe it has, and I just haven't seen moments from it. Because if it's been around for a long time and I've seen almost no highlights or special moments from it, then maybe that tells me everything I need to know. But I feel like the draft was properly hyped up. I feel like it was properly prepared for. I thought, when the show started, the whole draft room situation looked pretty cool. Like seeing the GMs in there acting like they're like all pissed off, like when someone else picks their guy. Like I thought that was a cool like whole little setup of making it seem like this, brand versus brand thing. It was pretty cool. I liked it. But it didn't take long for the draft picks to start rolling in and me to start wondering why this exists. Like, I understand the literal reason. The reason it exists is to, I guess, force an excuse for superstars to move from brand to brand and start different rivalries and start different feuds. But most of the picks tonight on SmackDown didn't really move anyone. There's a couple that stood out to me that I think, they're worth bringing up, and I'll talk about those. But, at the end of the day, I didn't really... I don't think it was that entertaining, just purely from a fan standpoint. Coming from a newer fan, I didn't really, it felt pretty underwhelming. There wasn't any, it just felt like a pick was made, and 9 times out of 10, they were going to the same show they were already on. So there wasn't really any commentary to be given. This is going to be the part where being a newer fan was a detriment to my enjoyment. I didn't recognize a lot of the names that were coming out and making these picks. I've recognized their faces. I've seen them referred to a few times in the past, like a couple of the Dudley guys I remember from WrestleMania. But overall, I didn't really know any of these, so I wasn't really getting the same star power feel that a long-term fan would have felt during those moments. I will say the parts that I did enjoy seeing Carmelo Hayes get drafted. It was cool seeing NXT guys get drafted. It almost feels like, to me, the draft shouldn't involve main roster superstars. Now, again, I don't really know what I'm talking about. So this is just off my impression. I did see the draft last year, but I was so unfamiliar with all the names since I was so new that it didn't have the same effect that it's having now. All the names I was hearing felt fresh and new to me. So it didn't occur to me what's occurring to me now. It felt like the draft would have been more interesting if it was the two brands picking from NXT, because NXT is kind of treated like it's treated like the lower show. That might not be how they try to portray it in storylines, but it did feel like that would have been a better opportunity to, with the NFL draft, what do? It's all the current NFL teams selecting from the developmental college programs that are developing for the NFL. So it makes sense in my head that the two main rosters, SmackDown and Raw, would be fighting to try to get the next best NXT superstar up to the main roster. And then, once the draft is over, anyone who doesn't get picked, those could be free agent signings. By the way, I'm sorry about my voice. If it sounds like I'm tired, I am. We just got back from our vacation. Long day. A lot of driving, but I really wanted to watch SmackDown and make this video, so we'll be good for the next one, I promise. But yeah, with the whole draft situation, it didn't feel meaningful, especially with everybody mostly going to their same shows. I know Raw could shake things up a little bit more, but even with them switching shows, it feels like such a short, cheap moment of not much excitement to be drafted to the other show. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too critical of it. I'm just being honest. The draft felt kind of underwhelming, and I will say this: we almost stayed another day near Cincinnati for our vacation, and we almost went to the show. And like halfway through the show, me and my fiance both looked at each other and agreed we're kind of glad we came home. If we would have stayed a whole another day and got tickets to the show, it would have been kind of underwhelming. But I don't want to bash on the whole thing because some of the episode did have some fun parts. Normally when the LWO starts having their matches, I kind of tune out because I've really struggled to get invested in most of their storylines, with the exception of Santos Escobar turning heel. But the thing that I wanted to happen to kind of make their story and everything a little bit more interesting for me finally did happen. Now, I don't know if this is any inspiration from the recent AEW releasing camera footage of CM Punk, but the angle they took was that Santos Escobar and his crew found security footage that showed that Carlito was actually the one who attacked Dragon Lee before WrestleMania. That got me kind of excited. That kind of got me to like, okay, this is a storyline. I feel like that gets my attention a little bit, and I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the LWO. So I don't have a ton to say on it. I haven't been invested in most of the character development within the LWO personally, but I am very excited to see Carlito kind of do some more of like a heel persona. I have heard, maybe you can better inform me, but I have heard that Carlito is more entertaining as a heel. I guess he was one at one point in the past. So that I'm looking forward to seeing, because he's been, as a face, he's just been kind of this smiley guy in the background, and it hasn't really done much for me. Bron Breakker, squashed Cedric Alexander, was it? Yeah, Cedric Alexander. A really quick spear. Felt unnecessary. I feel like we get it. I believe you. Bron Breakker is a badass. You've already done this a few times. It feels like another reason why I would have been disappointed to be there, because it was just a quick, hey, Bron Breakker is strong, don't forget, and then he immediately got drafted. I guess that was supposed to increase his draft stock or something. I get I'm sounding negative right now, but like a lot of this episode was kind of underwhelming. Another part that I did like was Kevin attacking the Bloodline. Came up from behind, took out Solo, and then started going off on Tonga. They were going back and forth, and that actually leaked out into the main stage while Jade and Bianca were looking at the Kabuki Warriors. They're having a bit of a stare down because they're going to be having a match soon. While they're having their stare down, Kevin and I believe it was Tama Tonga just kind of poured out from backstage, and it turned into a brawl in the actual ring. And then Randy Orton's music hits, comes out to help Kevin. Now, the reason this actually stood out to me, and I actually really enjoyed this, is because I really did enjoy the brief period leading up to WrestleMania where it felt like Randy and KO were becoming kind of a thing. And it feels weird to say because the triple threat at WrestleMania was entertaining for me. I thought it was fun. And I don't even mind that Logan Paul retained, but it almost felt like it interrupted something that I cared about more. I was enjoying the Kevin Owens and RKO friendship that was developing, and it felt like the triple threat almost kind of got in the way of that. So it is nice to see that they're getting a chance to do something together again. They are doing the RKO show next week. They're going to be doing something together, a different form of the KO show, it looks like. So that'll be cool. I am excited to see them kind of working together. If it's going to be Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline for a little while, that seems like it could be a ton of fun. I'm pretty excited about that. I hope it's okay I'm not reviewing like all of the picks that went on. Like they were so uninteresting for the most part. The only pick that really felt like it actually had a feeling of change to it, and I'll just skip right to that in my list. Nia Jax being drafted over to SmackDown after previously being on Raw. That was the one that felt like it was done right in the moment, because that night Nia Jax immediately embraces the fact that she is now on the SmackDown brand and attacks Bayley. So seeing the draft have a direct effect on behavior that night was cool, but I don't think it was enough to dictate an entire episode around making these pretty arbitrary and to be honest, a little bit meaningless draft picks. If there's more to the draft that I'm not respecting, I'm open-minded. Please tell me. I'm not someone, if you're new here, well, you're all new here. I'm new to doing this, so I guess that's fair. But I'm not someone who's gonna like stand on my hill and die on this hill of I must be right here. I'm totally open to being to having the draft explain to me further of why this is more interesting. I understand that they need to go from brand to brand. Isn't there ways to do that throughout the year that could not do what we're doing right now, like trades or storyline contract or storyline firings or something? Those just, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty down on the delivery of the draft, so maybe I'm just kind of seeking other methods. Main event of the night, and I'm gonna be honest, pretty much almost the only event of the night other than the LWO tag match. Carmelo Hayes fought Cody Rhodes in the main event, and that was actually pretty cool. It was cool to see them together. It was cool to see someone I guess that was the other direct effect of someone being drafted, which that was a draft pick I like. Someone being drafted from NXT, that is what feels like a draft. That was a cool pick. Seeing someone get picked from NXT, that felt like a cool moment for the draft process. But anyway, Cody Rhodes and Carmelo had a match that seemed fine. It seemed like it was a little bit playing it safe. Understandably, Cody's got his the backlash match with AJ Styles, so I'm guessing maybe that was it. But ironically, for it being safe, there was like a weird ending to it where they both seemed like they were going for some off the middle rope cutter of some sort, and I don't know if it was just mistimed or what, but it looked a little weird. And Cody was like holding his shoulder, which I'm sure he's probably fine because he was celebrating with that arm, so I don't think there's a Cody injury situation going on here, but it just looked kind of weird. It didn't look like a great ending. I hope that's not something that we need to worry about with Carmelo, because if I remember correctly, he also came up not that long ago and had an issue with, was it Austin Theory? Yes, it was Austin Theory. So that would be kind of unfortunate if 2 times he comes up and gets a match with people who are on the main roster and something weird happens. I mean, imagine Cody did get hurt there. I don't think he did, but imagine he did, and it was because of some sort of a mistiming. That's got to be really bad news for Carmelo, right? To come up and basically be, 2 of your last 3 full matches on SmackDown, the person that you were working with had some sort of an injury. That can't be good, right? Let me know your thoughts on the draft, though. That's kind of what I would like to discuss in the comments a little bit. I read literally every single comment, and a lot of them I respond to if it's kind of like a, discussion prompting type comment. Tell me if you like the draft, if you'd like to do it differently, if you'd like to get rid of it completely. Think it would be cool if it was the brand staying as they are and then both drafting from NXT, or I don't know, maybe that'd be a cool way. You could use the draft as a cool way to bring over talent from, I don't know, a free agent from another show or something as like a surprise arrival. It seems like it could be used for something like that. I feel like this current one is kind of boring. It's kind of lame. But I'm open to, it being explained to me a little bit better so that I can appreciate a little more. Make sure you are subscribed, by the way, because while I will be doing another video like this after Raw on Monday, I hope it's not as negative since it's also a draft one. But on, I think Wednesday, I'm going to be uploading the video that I've mentioned a couple times where I am going to be reviewing my experience doing the VIP ringsider thing when I went to Raw this past week. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe. It's been a pleasure meeting you all so far. I can't wait to meet more of you. I need to finally get some sleep. Been a long day, been a long week. It's good to be back, though. Good night, everybody.